Noisy Pixel.
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Noisy Pixel Podcast, a show where we talk about games, but mostly talk about ourselves. I'm your host, Brian Lee, and today I'm joined by Victor Aparicio.
What up?
Azario Lopez.
Brian, this is not just any episode. This is the episode.
I was getting to that, okay? I was getting to it, Azario. Just say your line so I can move on to introducing Jacob Kavanagh.
Nice. Wait, that was too early.
Oh, man. Well, yes, as Azario mentioned, it's a special episode. Episode 69. Yay!
Nice.
But yeah, we've been hyping up this episode, and so a lot of you guys are going to be disappointed because it's probably not going to be anything more special than previous episodes. But we are going to talk about sexy games. Yay!
Let's talk about
theming. Let's talk about some sexy games. Azar, do you have any that you want to get into? If not, I'm gonna list a couple that I think I would recommend to people who are into some sexy games.
I think the ones that come to mind that I actually enjoy are the Senran Kagura titles. I just like them for their fun. Hold on 1 second. The goddamn fucking cat. Get away. Goddamn cat's like clawing at the carpet underneath the door.
Zarya's got pussy problems.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
sexy.
You can't see me, but I'm looking away from the laptop.
So sexy games for me that come to mind are the Senran Kagura series. Mostly like the first like couple that have come west were the best. You got your Asuka and your Homura, just all those girls. Bari.
What's her name? The one that wears that Oni mask and like talks in a really like gruff voice.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan.
She cracks me up.
I found Habari and then I was like, I'm good. You know, like once she came into my life, everything else didn't really matter.
Yeah, those games are pretty fun. I think it's a sexier Dynasty Warriors is what it is.
You have people like defending it, and I'll jump on this train sometimes just to be like the devil's advocate.
If I remember correctly, the first couple of Senran Kagura games were just like these 3DS hack and slash beat 'em up sort of titles.
Yeah. And then
Pretty much all of
pretty
them are
fun.
like that. They're basically Dynasty Warriors where you play as you pick your character, and some of them have like different abilities, and you just go and fight mobs and mobs of scantily clad ninja ladies.
I mean, they don't start out scantily clad. You make them scantily clad with your ninja techniques.
Yes, you do damage to them, and their damage breaks their clothing only to where they become more and more scantily clad.
As damage does.
Honestly, the games are pretty fun, and I think the thing I liked about the Senran Kagura series the most is just how self-aware it is of like what it is. You know, they like poke fun and they make a ton of innuendos talking about like giant California rolls and shit like that.
Well, I think that's where like when people kind of are like, oh, this is just fan service, you know, I'd be like, well, there's a pretty good story tied to it, and each girl has their own reasonings for why they're in ninja school and why they're doing what they're doing. And honestly, though, it's all about the titties, dude. Life in hometown.
The first title's got very much an excuse plot, and they try to flesh out a few characters. The second one is where they just go all in and give everyone a dark and depressing backstory. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take this.
Yeah. So for that series, we are getting from the producer. Sorry, from the producer of that series, we are getting Jet Girls, I believe it's called, next month. So that's like a new kind of Senran Kagura game, but the girls are on jet skis. And sounds good to me.
What Senran Kagura has always been missing. Jet skis.
Yes.
I mean, they had what they did. They did the rhythm game where it's like a cooking show, and that one was fun. They did one that's basically like a water gun fight where
Like Splatoon.
they just shoot
Splatoon
water
with
guns at each
water.
other. Yeah, it's like
Splatoon with water.
Splatoon with a bunch of sexy ladies. That one was also a fun one.
Honestly, I like more when they go back to basics, Go
Just the
back to
beat 'em
what
up
we
hack and slashy ones.
yeah. Just
Mm.
you don't need to get all crazy with all this stuff. How far can you push anime visuals, Like, I know Bandai Namco's trying it, but I think once you rely too heavily on like Unreal Engine 4 and shit, it gets that shiny look to it, and it just doesn't look good anymore.
We just need more DOA beach volleyball games.
Yeah,
We're
put
using
more
the
things.
new DOA 6 like character models
Yeah,
and actually
yeah.
touch it up. It's fucking 2020. We deserve AAA, fan servicey volleyball games.
Honestly, if a new Ninja Gaiden came out in that engine, it would look fucking good because that's the Neo engine, and it would look great. It would look really cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. The last like anime game that I legitimately thought looked good was Ni no Kuni, and
That
on the
one was
PlayStation
nice. I
3.
liked it, yes.
Yeah, when the second one came out, it was still nice, but you can tell they cut some corners without Studio Ghibli there to kind of help them with the animation. It definitely looked different. Definitely, they relied a lot on Unreal 3D models for the overworld people, and it definitely lost some of that fantasy anime-esque stuff. So I don't know. Here's to like Scarlet Nexus, to kind of bring it back that Bandai Namco is working on, but even that looks like a God Eater game. It's just I don't know how far we can push these anime visuals, because sooner or later, people just want titties.
It's true. It's true. We gotta do those life selector games where it's literally just choose your own. What is it, like an FMV, but it's a porno?
Yeah. Oh god. Don't give people ideas.
Those exist, man. That's a thing.
I definitely do.
Get ready for Kodaka to make like a horrifying death game out of it.
All right, Victor. How about you? What are some sexy games that you would recommend to our listeners?
I don't know. I was gonna go basic with Galgun, but I remember this one PS2 game, which I believe got a sequel on 360, and that's gonna be Rumble Roses. I think it was called with two X's. Now it didn't have three X's like we all wanted it to have, just the two. But that was the
2X's is okay.
it's fine, and but yeah, that's when you're a bunch of babes, I'll just go ahead and call them, and you're just basically wearing bikinis and lingerie, and you're just wrestling each other in a ring, in WWE style.
It just looks like if you took DOA and you just wore all the sexy DLC skins only. That's like basically what the game is.
It
It is not a good game. Did you enjoy that game, Victor?
Well, as I was about to admit, I literally played a round. Like my friend had it, and I was just like, "Let's play all day." And he's like, I'm not even joking either. He's like, "We can't. My mom's here. My mom's here." And I was like, "Why do you own the game then? Come on, let's just play the game." He's like, "Okay, let's play the game." And then like she came back inside, and we're like, "No." He turned it off. I was like, "Dude, come on, I'm hitting puberty, and I need to see it.
You can see these polygons.
Oh man,
And that's just
desperate times.
I would love to grab a copy and see if it works on the Xbox One, and have a horrible time with Azario
once Corona passes. My dad wouldn't let me look at the case in Blockbuster of that game. Like I would pass it, and he would put it behind the other cases. Yeah, he was pretty strict. Yeah, that game's not good.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be because it's sexy, you know.
What if he was just like, here, play this instead? He gave you a WWE game, which is just a bunch of shirtless big dudes.
But then you only play the female wrestlers. It's the same thing.
No, they're not in it yet. They're not.
They're not in it. They're not allowed to fight yet.
But yeah, Galgun is a good game, and I think I don't think it's a bad choice to have that be going back to the basics thing. I think Galgun was one of those like first for like the games where it was like, what the heck, this can be on console. This is just like the whole premise of this is so like terrible.
They knew it too.
Where you just shoot orgasm guns at teenage girls, and I'm just like, how can this
You know what else
exist?
I always wanted though on my Vita was Akiba's Trip.
Oh, Akiba's Strip. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I just think it's hilarious to like beat up on someone so much that they just explode out their clothes. I think. I think Parasite Eve did the same thing. Well, not beat people up and they explode their clothes, but like the more damage you get, like the more, you'd see some bras.
That was third birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was the third birthday that had the Final Fantasy 13 director who kept on overriding the voice act. They put him in charge of voice direction for some reason, which is why there are so many like what do you call the let's just say the groans of pain should not have been done the way they are done. But he made them done that way because the man has a fetish for characters that look loosely like Lightning Farron.
I actually kind of like that game. That wasn't a bad game.
I like it too.
It wasn't a bad game in terms of gameplay.
I had to start over like 3 times, but it's a really.
There's multiple endings, so
They're
just trying to get the good route.
Which route's the good route?
They're all good routes.
The good route is the one where they actually don't give someone else the series when they reboot it.
It's the route where you get her to take a shower at the end.
Christ.
What about you, Jacob? What games come to mind?
Let's see. What's the best? It's a good question.
Doesn't have to
Yeah,
be
they're
the
not the
best.
best. Just list a couple of seconds. No one's gonna be bad picky. They're not looking for the best. This is something they're gonna listen and be like, oh, episode 69, the Not Safe for Work podcast. And, all right, cool. I'm just gonna listen to the first 5 minutes of this, peruse a little, be like, that'll do, and then go disappear for a couple minutes. Like this podcast doesn't even have to be that long, like.
Shite, you're right. Okay.
Look, if Jacob wants bikinis and a 10 out of 10 from GameSpy, he'll get it.
I mean, I don't know. Victor was talking about his that the friend with the mom with the whatever what was the game? I don't remember what he said it was.
Rumble Roses.
Rumble Roses.
Yeah, my mom didn't care. I played Persona 4 and I was in Risei's dungeon. And she just walked in and was like, huh, and moved along.
That's my son. She's just like, this is my life now.
She made her Final Fantasy game. No, the third FF game I played was 10-2.
Ooh.
So just going straight in from Tactics Advanced to 12 to 10-2 with all the idle stuff at the start. This is just
I gave birth
how
to
we
this.
roll.
I was always embarrassed of like playing friggin' Final Fantasy X2 just because like I feel like that was like the most scantily clad ladies in video games at the time when I was playing video games. And I was like, yeah, I don't think my parents would understand what I'm doing. But
I was not ashamed at all. I played it straight through.
although my parents didn't really pay a lot of attention in general. Like I would watch a lot of anime, and there were a lot of very inappropriate animes that were borderline not anime that I was watching as a kid.
God. It was impossible for me to be ashamed of playing 10-2 because I just watched in front of my parents and like all of my siblings. I watched a crap ton of Sailor Moon. Like nothing surprised them anymore.
Yeah. I watched a lot of Pokemon and Digimon. Sailor Moon. I didn't think my dad really cared. As long as I was home and safe, not doing drugs.
I think my parents didn't care because I think my cousin told me this, that for the longest time my parents thought I was gay. And so I guess that excuses a lot of my actions. I'd be like, oh, he's just being gay. You should
That sounds like
he's playing
every
this game for their outfits, not because it's sexy ladies or anything.
God, that's always so great when you're on your way out the door and you're like, okay, I'll see you later. It's like, where are you going? It's like, I'm going to my friend's house. It's like, again? He's like, yeah. He's like, why do you like being there so much? I'm like, what do you think about? And they just look like you're sure over there a lot.
Don't you have any girlfriends?
My house is boring. Okay, Mom, God. They have video games. They have 10 too. Load it up on the,
Have
You
10
just
too.
have a copy of Rumble Roses on the counter. This is what we've been doing.
I constantly had to prove to my dad that I wasn't gay. I just had to do all these manly things like join sports and stuff.
and do a screamo band.
Anyways, we interrupted
growing
Jacob.
up-
Jacob, list the game that you want to recommend.
Oh yeah,
Oh right, yeah. Let me think. Offhand, there was that manga game release that was a Roge VN, Ria dating sim sort of thing. If you love me, then say so. That randomly has the best translation ever, in which they had a character. There was a character who refers to the player as Oni-chan the whole time.
Uh-huh.
But the localization changed this to dude. So every single time.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
That's a good translation
Yeah,
for them.
I think
Taking
that's-
some liberties.
I think that's fine. I mean, what would you translate Oni-chan to not make it creepy in the West as a Western release? Dude is fine by me, man.
Exactly.
That works.
I mean,
Dude, to not get me arrested.
I mean,
I'll take it.
people got like super upset. You can find a mod that is just to undo that. So it just replaces all the dudes with Oni-chan again, which actually has an error in which someone else who gets called dude is suddenly called Oni-chan, but they're not talking to that.
It's just a
person.
It's just a voice recording of a Mokuba from Yu-Gi-Oh going, "Big brother." That's the bond. Oh man,
shut up, Brian.
I play that game. I don't know about you guys. I think that'd be hilarious.
What about you, Brian? What are some of your games?
Brian.
Let's see. I really liked Hunipop when it came out because it was different. It wasn't just like a visual novel with like sex scenes and stuff like that. You actually like played a game where you would have to do a variation of Bejeweled to kind of seduce the women. And so it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that game in particular kind of opened up kind of like Arrow gameplay to a whole new audience.
Yeah,
it's true. It just seemed like that title in particular introduced this style of sex gameplay to more people, and then after that, everyone discovered all these
more open to like sex games too, right? Like Steam started releasing a lot more sexy games on their platform. It was like, oh, this is respectable. So yeah, I really liked
respectable saying a lot, but
yeah.
And now the rules don't make any sense.
Respectable enough to profit money off of. Okay.
yeah. Respectable enough to get that 10%.
But yeah, no, it's fun. The voice, it was just like really interesting to see. Like it was fully voice acted with like English voice actors. It actually had like gameplay that if you like went to like the harder difficulties, it was actually pretty difficult of a Bejeweled game. And so it was a lot of fun. And then I was trying to find another game that was similar to it, and I found Mirror, which is basically like an Asian bootleg copy of Hootie Pop, but way more erotic. And they translated it to English, and the translation is so bad. It's so terrible.
Did like a computer translation? Like
Yeah,
just,
like it's basically they just put it in
Google.
Google Translate, where I'm just like, I don't understand what that sentence means. I don't understand the context of why this ghost lady is showing me her titties, but all right, you know.
God.
But they do the same Bejeweled style type game, and it was like $2. And I was like, wow, for $2, that you can basically just get another Hoonie Pop game.
In that situation, do you need context though?
No, definitely not. You don't need.
You know what you're getting.
All you just need is the uncensored mod, courtesy of the community forums in Steam.
Dude, I'll tell you, like everyone complains about like video game prices, but visual novel games are fucking expensive, especially the erotic games. They're like $50. Like, come on.
I mean, why do you think so many people make OnlyFans accounts now? People pay for porn
to pay for their visual novels.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Sorry, I just caught what you said.
But
yeah, no, some of those games are super expensive. I think they're like I think Indie Gala was like doing a deal where like everything was 35% off of like the erotic games in their library. And I'm like, 35% off of like $70. It's crazy. Like it's still expensive.
In reality, it's like when people license anime in the West, they sell it for like $300 or $250. And that's because all they need to sell is like 100 copies. So you get those 100 diehards, those 100 to 1,000 diehards. And this is like in small scale. It's probably more than that. They probably sell about 5,000 copies. But that's all they need to break even, you know? Just kind of leech off of these super fans. And they don't care about the little fans that probably already downloaded it illegally. Just want those people with money, with an addiction to physical media. Same with the more expensive visual novels. It's like, well, we just licensed this 80-hour visual novel. How many are we actually going to sell? You know, versus how many are people going to steal it? So you have to like put it at a sweet spot, which is probably around $40, where people that are going to buy it, and people that are going to steal it. Yeah.
You have no idea how much. I wish I could grab some of those like limited physical runs for these titles.
Yeah, it's really some licensors do physical editions, and it's really cool, even if it's like just a one-off visual novel. But at least you have the physical disc, you know. That's why it feels so crazy when like games like Marco and the Dragon come out, which is like $20, and it's better than any visual novel that I've played in the past like 2 years. And I'm like, where did this come from, you know? So you definitely get surprised, but visual novels, especially the sexy ones, they come with a price.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind so much if like if the game is like good enough to be worth the price tag, right? And I feel like currently your only option is like, oh, you need to get like play the Japanese like visual novels and like the erogaze and stuff if you want to like play a sexy game, because Western sexy games are garbage. They're just like hot garbage. They either have terrible art people like making the game, or it's just a quick like cash grab where they're just trying to make like $2. And like it's just
speaking of that, I think there's one dev who's just started, who made a couple of like very small titles. It's just immediately running a Kickstarter to make like a Japanese style eroge. I think it's called Thawing Feelings or something. It's like, I did not know that. I saw
you reviewed one of his last games, the DS Song.
Oh yeah, I reviewed Chemically Bonded. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, I didn't know that was supposed to be like an eroge before I saw the Kickstarter. I'm like, oh. Huh. all right.
Yeah, so that's a good example of an American mimicking Japanese. I don't even know if they're American. They might be European, but
I think the European.
yeah, I think they're European too. So like
It's still sort of
a
Western,
Westerner, kind of mimicking the Japanese thing, the Japanese style. But you're right, Brian. When you typically there's like I don't know, it's like a contrast thing or something. The colors that they use, it just everything looks so harsh.
It's terrible. Like here, look at two different things. All right, you can look up $2 game Mirror on Steam and look at the artwork for that, and then look at I don't know what's a Western one like. So there's Max Gentleman Sexy Business. It looks terrible. It doesn't look like good at all. And it's supposed to be a sexy game. Like it's just so bad. It looks like someone from a website like Neopets or something would like have made it or something.
That's it's
That's why I
definitely
appreciate Honeypop because it's more like a Western sexy game that actually had a lot of like effort put into it, you know, and it showed that a lot of people liked the game, even like it's caught a mainstream audience. A lot of YouTubers and stuff are playing it, you know, and things like that. So I think there should be more of that. I think it'd be good.
well, that's why it pisses me off when games like is that stupid visual novel that ever DD whatever DDL everyone plays it. You know what it is, Jacob. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Doki Doki Literature Club. That's what you're going for.
Literature Club. Fuck that.
Just so you're aware, I found out there's like a much better similar. Aside from that, okay, there are two much better versions of this game, right? A, you've got You and Me and Her, which
Really good.
Azario reviewed that. Check it out if you haven't already. And there's one title on Steam I just found that is very similar to it and is also free.
Anticipation's killing me.
Okay. MetaWare High School demo.
Gotcha.
So it's on Steam as a demo, but then it immediately makes you start questioning whether or not it's actually a demo.
Huh. See, that's the thing, right? There's so many things out there that are like $2 or like free that are comparable to stuff that people are charging like $30 for, and they're just like, it's just such a huge discrepancy that it's just, I don't. Is it hard to ask for just like a little bit of consistency here? You know.
I think that's why like Japanese developers like Front Wing are making their visual novels shorter and in volumes so they can sell them $10 each, but they're not like the Fruit of Gersai, which is like 100 hours long, the whole thing. Now they're making this new Gersai series, which is probably about 2 to 3 hours long, at $10 each. The idea is once you get someone to play the first 3, they're gonna play the next 4, you know? So you have this constant gratification of new money coming in that's going to be going towards and then if like number 7 looks really good, you have a sweet deal for all 6 of the previous ones, you know? Put that in the Steam bundle.
I can't believe Ryakushi was right on the money back in 2003 with Higurashi.
Yeah. He nailed it.
He nailed it back then with his hands. No one else is going to get that joke, huh?
I think I get it. I'm not that big of a nerd, especially not that big of a Higurashi.
Because the fingernail ripping thing. I'm only basing this off of watching the anime for Higurashi.
Oh, geez, that's not what I was going for. But thanks for that.
Oh, dude,
that scene in the visual novel is painful.
I remember that scene in the anime, and I was like, "What the fuck am I watching here? This is crazy." I was watching a slice of life, like haha, it's kids being kids anime, and they're all murdering people. It's ridiculous.
You're in the middle of a slow jerk, and then
in chapter 1, you've got
finish.
Kids.
You know.
Jesus Play Higurashi when they cry, guys.
You will not regret it. Well, with that, I think we're done, guys.
Yeah, I think that was a nice, short and sweet episode. 2 minutes in heaven is better than 1 minute in heaven sort of situation.
Yeah.
But
Short
yeah,
and sweet. That's what I'm known for.
oh man. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to this special episode of the Noisy Pixel podcast. We hope you liked it. Was it good for you? If you want to hear more about gaming news, reviews, previews, maybe more family-friendly stuff, you can check out our website at noisypixel.net. There's a lot of video game content on there that, if this was not your cup of tea, we got all sorts of stuff on there for you. You just gotta poke around and dig around and look around there. Our socials are also on there. And so you can be sure to follow us on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. And if you want to reach out to us about the podcast, you can either comment on the YouTube video if you're listening to us on YouTube, or shoot me an email at Brian, Brian, at noisypixel.net. What were you trying to say, Victor? I totally interrupted you, but you were trying to interrupt me first.
No, that's what I was going to say. I'll interrupt you. I was going to say, if it is your cup of tea, check out all of our, naughty game reviews over at Pixel on it.
Do we have a special tag for them? Don't just talk visual novel. Yeah, just type in any of the visual novel reviews. Just go there. You'll have a sexy time. I promise you.
Search visual novel.
You'll even get a good sexy time from the ones that aren't H.
I will say that we are probably the best visual novel review site and news site on the internet currently.
We have standards. Okay, we have sexy standards, and we pass.
We have standards. By standards, we have no standards.
Yeah, we don't have standards.
But that's what makes us so good.
Yeah.
We're like a cheap date.
Thank you for listening.
All right, thanks you guys. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.